You know that feeling when a crazy, stressful day at work literally ties your stomach into knots? Or, on the flip side, how a really good mood just makes your whole body feel lighter? Well, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating two-way superhighway connecting your mental state right to your physical gut. We're going to explore the cutting-edge science showing us how the mind and body are in this constant, intimate conversation. And a big piece of this puzzle, your immune system. It turns out it doesn't just fight off colds. It actually acts as this highly sensitive hidden communication bridge between your everyday thoughts and your digestion. It's a biological highway that is completely changing how we understand health. Let's get into it.
So let's kick things off with a pretty massive question. Can a single thought actually heal or harm your gut? Think about it. We use phrases all the time like getting sick with worry or having a gut instinct, right? For the longest time, modern medicine just brushed those off as poetic metaphors. But now, thanks to some wild research in fields like neuroplasticity, how our brains literally rewire themselves based on what we experience, and epigenetics, which looks at how our environment changes how our genes actually function, well, we know these phrases are rooted in hard biology. A thought isn't just some abstract, invisible thing floating around in your head. It's a very real, physical event. Every single emotion you feel kicks off this cascading sequence of physical signals that echo through your entire body.
Now, this totally flips centuries of conventional medical thinking on its head. For so long, we operated under this strict illusion of mind-body dualism. Basically, the idea was that mental health and physical health were entirely separate things locked away in their own little silos. Under that old model, if your stomach hurt, a doctor treated the stomach. Anxious, they treated the brain. But the latest research is screaming at us that this is a fundamentally flawed approach. Your mind and your body are locked in this dynamic, continuous dance. They are constantly, and I mean constantly, influencing each other moment by moment. You just can't chop up human health into neat, isolated physical and mental boxes anymore. To treat one, you absolutely have to acknowledge the other.
Okay, so what's the actual mechanism here? It's all about the gut-brain axis. This is the major communication pathway linking that incredibly complex ecosystem of microbes living in your gut straight up to your brain. And here's the kicker. This relationship is completely bidirectional. Yes, your current psychological state directly impacts your digestive symptoms, but, and this is wild, the reverse is also true. The health of your gut microbiome profoundly influences your mood, your behavior, the whole shebang of your mental well-being. Those tiny bacteria in your gut, they're actually down there busy producing neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which then travel right up this axis to influence how you feel. It is literally a two-way superhighway of information buzzing back and forth all day long.
So how exactly are these signals getting routed through the body? Well, on one side, you've got the sympathetic nervous system. This is your body's built-in alarm system, the famous fight-or-flight response. And look, it's fantastic if you need to, say, sprint away from a physical threat. It spikes your heart rate, shuts down non-essential stuff like digestion, and preps your muscles for an absolute emergency. But then, on the exact opposite side, we have the parasympathetic nervous system. This is the rest and digest state. This is where the magic happens. It's the mode where your body actively regulates its internal organs, happily digests food, minimizes stress, and does all that essential cellular healing. The big modern problem, though, when we're dealing with chronic stress or unresolved trauma, our biological alarm gets jammed in that sympathetic drive. And that leaves zero room for the rest and digest healing we so desperately need.
And when that fight or flight switch gets stuck in the on position, we enter a really dangerous downward spiral. When negative mental formations, think chronic stress, intense anxiety, or trauma, kind of take over the driver's seat, they send these destructive, inflammatory signals straight down the gut-brain axis. We literally see it exacerbate severe conditions like inflammatory bowel disease and trigger incredibly painful flare-ups of IBS. But the damage definitely doesn't stop at digestion. Chronic psychological stress floods your system with cortisol. Over time, that physically exhausts your immune cells and suppresses your cell-mediated immunity. Because your body's resources are totally locked into survival mode, research actually shows that physical wounds heal much slower when you're stressed. Get this, studies even found that standard immunizations are less effective when given to highly stressed people. Your mind's distress is literally physically compromising your body's defenses. Which brings us to this profound scientific pivot in how we understand our own biology. It was perfectly captured by the late researcher Candace Pert when she asked one simple, brilliant question. Is the peptide first or the emotion? Pert's groundbreaking work revealed that neuropeptides and neurotransmitters act directly on our immune system. Just think of a peptide as a tiny protein acting as a vital cellular text message. Her question really challenges the whole origin story of our physical and emotional reality. When you feel a deep emotion, it's not just happening in the ether of your consciousness. It's instantly translated into this biochemical reality of peptides flooding your entire body. So what actually comes first? The physical chemical messenger or the abstract feeling? They are so tightly interwoven that they're practically the exact same thing.
The answer to Pert's awesome question is found in this groundbreaking field called psychoneuroimmunology. It's a long word, but it's basically the study of how our nervous and immune systems are just constantly talking to each other. And if you take one thing away from this whole explainer, let it be this: they speak a common biochemical language. They're chatting using neuroendocrine hormones, cytokines, and neuropeptides. Like I mentioned, these are essentially chemical text messages zipping back and forth between your brain and your immune cells. Through these messages, the immune system accesses this hidden communication bridge between your mind and your gut. Your white blood cells actually have receptors on them. They are quite literally listening to your thoughts. While a quick burst of acute stress might briefly boost immunity for a sudden emergency, long-term emotional distress sends chaotic, confusing texts across that bridge, which eventually just breaks down your immune function.
But hey, here is the incredibly empowering news. Just as chronic stress causes physical, measurable harm, we can intentionally shift our biology in the exact opposite direction. We can actively choose to shift into positive mental states. We can use focused intention to activate that parasympathetic rest and digest response we talked about earlier. When you consciously slow your breathing and calm those racing thoughts, you lower your heart rate, you drop that cortisol production. And by doing that, you are sending restorative, healing signals right back across that exact same immune bridge. It means that sure, while you are vulnerable to stress, you also hold the keys to your own recovery. You can consciously intervene in your own biology to bring your body back to a state of healthy equilibrium.
And when we do that, we create an upward spiral. By actively triggering the relaxation response through mind-body techniques, we effectively counteract all those harmful long-term effects of chronic stress. The clinical benefits here are just mind-blowing. On the psychological front, we see enhanced emotional regulation and a huge decrease in the hypervigilance that comes with trauma and PTSD. But the physical impacts? Just as profound. Triggering this response has been clinically proven to alleviate functional bowel disorders, including the really severe pain of Crohn's disease. I mean, imagine someone who couldn't enjoy a normal dinner without intense abdominal pain, suddenly finding real relief simply because they started regularly regulating their nervous system. This upward spiral also improves your sleep, fights insomnia, and lowers blood pressure. You are literally using the power of your mind to heal your gut.
Of course, because modern life, trauma, and chronic stress have a nasty habit of disconnecting us from the present moment, we have to actively and intentionally retrain our nervous system. So how do you do it? You can start by engaging in simple, breath-focused meditation, or try practicing regular body scans where you just mentally check in with the physical sensations in different parts of your body. These mindfulness techniques act like a workout for your vagus nerve, literally strengthening the connection between your body and mind. This helps you achieve the ultimate goal: staying within your nervous system's window of tolerance. Now, the window of tolerance is that sweet spot, that optimal zone where your nervous system is perfectly balanced. You aren't hyper-aroused in a state of panic, and you aren't hypo-aroused and numb. Staying in this window prevents that whole damaging fight-or-flight cascade and keeps you grounded, emotionally regulated, and so much physically healthier.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative thought. If your mind and body speak the exact same biochemical language, what will you tell your gut today? You know now that your mental state and your physical reality aren't separate. They're caught in this dynamic, continuous dance. Your immune system is this highly sensitive bridge, and its cells are literally always listening to the biochemical text sent by your emotions. Every single worry, every joy, every little moment of calm is registered right there in your digestive tract. So knowing that you hold the incredible power to intentionally guide this bidirectional conversation toward healing, stability, and resilience, what message are you going to send? Thanks so much for joining me to explore this fascinating topic. Catch you next time.